Hey everyone, it's Bree, aka Mimosas and Manga, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm really excited because I'll be doing my first ever review video with y'all. Before I get started, I want to break down how I plan on doing my review and my reviews in the future. So I like to keep things simple, so I'm just going to start off with a summary about the subject matter, then I'll move on to my own thoughts and opinions about the subject. And lastly, I'll give some details regarding the subject, such as cost, follow-up volumes, and things like that you'd be interested in if, you want to follow up and check this out. So, without further ado, let's get started. Today's review video is all about My Happy Marriage, the light novel, Volume 1. So, to summarize what goes on in this great read. So the story takes place in the Taisho period in Japan. So it's a historical romance light novel, but it also has supernatural powers and magic and stuff. So, it's a little mix. And the story follows a young woman named Mio who is born into a noble family. Now her family is known for its supernatural abilities, however, she has none. And as the background goes, you kind of find out that her dad and her mom got married to pretty much try to produce a supernatural talented child, which obviously did not work. And eventually her mom dies and her dad remarries his OG love interest, who of course hates her guts because she's just a constant reminder of the fact that he left her to marry another woman. So her dad and her stepmom have a baby and she has supernatural abilities. So they kind of just toss her to the side and make her life a living hell and treat her like a servant. Honestly, they treat her worse than a servant. And that's her life. That's literally her life growing up. She's being abused in her own house. She doesn't have clothes. She has to eat scraps for food and things like that. So now Mio is a marriageable age, which means, during that time, once you're married, marriageable age, it's you gotta get a husband. You gotta get us some money because, marriage was about money back then. And, her parents, they're actually kind of losing some influence and they need that money. They're not poor, but they're not rich bala shot kala rich anymore either. So they really need that money. Because Mio has no supernatural abilities, that's already a strike against her in the noble circle, because a lot of the nobles during that time in this world are pretty much known and affluent because they have supernatural abilities. Not all of them, but most of them from my understanding and reading. So she already has a strike against her, and it might be kind of hard to marry her off to any of the other, noble families, because no one wants somebody who can't, make a supernatural baby. That's just how it is. And her sister and she are of marriageable age at this point, and of course their dad's trying to marry them off. So her sister is actually intended to become the fiance of a very powerful nobleman who is also a commander in the army, and I'll get to him later. And he's pretty much tossed each of his fiancés to the side. Every time he's gotten one, he's like, I don't like you. Bam, bam. So everyone's really scared of him. They think that he's super cold-hearted and pretty much like a monster, like a ruthless monster. He doesn't F with nobody. He don't mess with nobody. He doesn't F with anybody. And they're scared. And they're like, we don't want to send our daughter to, be engaged to some crazy man. So instead of sending his stepdaughter, he decided to send Mio because, like I said, that man, he don't care about her. None of them care about her. They're like, yeah, if he kicks her out, she's out of her hair. She'll just live in the streets at this point. Now for her, marriage is the ultimate escape. She's looking forward to marriage so she can get out of this horrible poverty situation that her family's put her in, and being a freaking slave in her own household. She's ready to go. She is get me out of here. She dreams of being married so she can escape. That's That's the level she's on right now. In walks this handsome guy, and his name is Kyoko. Now, he's the big, bad, scary man that everyone's afraid of, and is like, oh my gosh, he hates women. Like, he hates women, doesn't like anybody, he's very antisocial, blah, blah, blah. Which is kind of true, but not true. Okay, not everything is what it seems. So, once Mio is given to him as his fiance, she travels to go live with him. And of course, she's like, oh my gosh, they sent me to go live with this monster. But you know what? It's probably better than living with them. You know, he might just ignore me, and at least if he like kicks me out, you know, I'll find something to do on the streets, maybe. Like, you know. So she's afraid of being kicked out and thrown to the streets. However, part of her is also prepared for it because she knows she doesn't have any powers, and she knows that her family didn't tell him she doesn't have powers. So the story follows the two as they get to know each other, and then they start to realize that, you know, she's not what she appears to be and he's not what he appears to be, and they sort of spend the whole novel unwinding all these stereotypes and like the gossip that they assume about this person because of the position, the way they act, etc. And Mio is actually quite shy and reserved and timid, and it can come off as the opposite in his eyes at first. And he's actually very hard and steely, but on the outside, but internally he's actually very caring and warm, and he's just very curt and blunt. So the two begin to form a strong bond together, and you know, as all drama, there is drama. And they face the drama together, and at some point, you know, there's a life and death situation where they're both kind of thrown into it, and he has to go save her, you know, like a stereotypical drama, y'all know. And in the end, they decide that they're gonna stay together, and her family gets their comeuppance, and the novel leaves off with them pretty much deciding to continue the relationship and continue on with their engagement and potential marriage. My thoughts on this light novel. At first, from the synopsis, I thought it was going to be more like a Beauty and the Beast vibe because it described, you know, the male lead as being kind of like beastly and cold, and pretty much I felt like, oh, she was like thrown to the wolves to him. And instead, what I got was a surprisingly refreshing rendition of Cinderella meets a period drama with some supernatural stuff thrown in, and it works very well. The character building is excellent. However, it does feel rushed, but I just think that's because the length of the light novel itself, and the imagery is very vivid. I can clearly picture the characters, the events, the background, everything like that. So I really enjoyed that, and I was honestly, you know, reacting out loud as I read. So it felt very much drama-like, and I'm super excited to read volume 2. Other thoughts, I definitely will recommend this to a friend, and I will continue to read and collect this. So I'm going to give it 4 cheers. It gets 4 cheers from me. And honestly, if you're looking for a refreshing take on a classic tale that's like Cinderella, this is definitely it. If you're interested in checking out this light novel, here's some things that you probably want to know. So, cost. It costs $15 for me to purchase this book at Barnes & Noble. I know that there are a few copies at Second and Charles where I'm at now, and I only just saw it today. And that's a used bookstore that's affiliated with Books A Million. So if you're looking for a used copy that might be cheaper than $15, you could possibly find one there if you have one in your area, or on Amazon as a used copy. Aside from pricing, this series is ongoing, so if you're looking for another series to binge, this probably isn't it. However, the second volume does come out July 12th of 2022, which is only a few weeks away, so if you're willing to be patient, you can get both volume 1 and 2 at the same time. Now, if you'd rather just, skip the whole reading of the light novel or read the manga, or if you don't even want to read and the story sounds interesting to you, they're actually converting it into an anime. So when the anime comes out, you'll be able to check it out. And I actually have a clip of the trailer if you're interested in that, and I'll, post that right here.
この世界に私の居場所はどこにもなく、幸せを願うなんておこがましい。昔から自分は必要のない存在なのだと思っていた。
That concludes my review video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and if you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, as this is my first review video, I'm always open to feedback, so if you feel like I could do something a little better or a little different, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely check those out and apply those to my next review videos. Additionally, if you're looking for a more detailed review, don't worry, I got you covered. I'm actually working on a written review, and I should have that out by the end of the month. Don't quote me on that because my work schedule is really long and draining, but I'm trying my best, y'all. I'm trying my best. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good day, night, wherever you are.